Boom, we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us today. It is a crispy day out there in the markets. We're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin, and to dive right in, this was just signed, an executive order allowing crypto and other private assets into 401ks. Now, why is this big deal? This allows, I think the 401ks are upwards of $12 trillion of assets that have currently not been able to invest in Bitcoin ETFs or other assets as well. I believe that's property. There's a few other things that they included in there, but primarily I think the Bitcoin ETF will be one of the largest receivers of this net gain. So again, this is crypto may be soon a part of your 401k as Trump plans an executive order Thursday midday to allow employees to access alternative assets like Bitcoin ETFs or private equity in their retirement accounts, according to senior White House official. This is really big news, actually. And off the back of that, we've been following this inverse head and shoulders for quite some time. We were following this trading range at the top. Appeared to be an SOS and then a backup phase taking place. We just touched the top of that trading range the last week here, and we've started to move up. And this often happens. We see these touch kind of just at the top. So I'll zoom in here for a little bit of a clearer picture. But we were following this range. Originally, I had clocked it horizontally, but if you were in the private group, you'll have noted I updated it about a week ago as more of a falling, people would call it a bull flag. There's a falling wedge. They usually signal the kind of the end of the market cycle itself. And we've moved up really strongly from the 114,000 into the $116,000 area. Now, this has actually sent assets across the crypto board screaming. Technically, we saw Link do almost 8 to 10% in the last 12 hours here. Psi moved up. Ethereum back to the top of the box here at its previous trading range as well. I suspect that we're going to see a continuation of the market. And that's what I've been standing by. I think the market cycle is almost over. So for Bitcoin, I suspect that we're going to be jumping back to the top of the box at around the $120,000 area, probably within the next few days, maybe even sooner. Now, again, this doesn't come into effect right away. This is going to take time for the markets to digest and organize themselves around these new positionings. The other one was the Genius Act, which comes into effect in about 120 days. So these are key moments to keep in mind as we're moving forward. The other one we like to keep an eye on is from our friends over at Bitcoin Magazine Pro, the MRV score, MVRV score. We're still quite low. We haven't seen anywhere near kind of a peak out or blow off top that we've seen in the past. And I've made a few assumptions on why that might be the case. When you have larger market makers in the market, it is beneficial for them to drive the price up, accumulate, and distribute all within single steps. And that, I believe, is what we've been seeing. I've kind of talked about this prior, that we're going to see Bitcoin on average move more and more towards some type of stable currency. That stable coins in the long run would be the least reliable, and Bitcoin itself over time would become like a stable currency itself. Although we're a long ways away from that, it could be millions of dollars at the time when that becomes the true statement. But nonetheless, this bigger pattern that we've been following, this massive inverse head and shoulders, appears to have just completed what I believe was its SOS and backup phase. So to me, I think we're going to be probably up at 136,000 in the short-term future here. Again, I think we'll just go pretty much straight up to 136, maybe one more LPS, and then up to 150. And then I think the market's done for a bit. I was actually making some conjecture in the private group that we could actually see a return to the normal median here for Bitcoin, which would be around $70,000. So my estimate is that we maybe go up to 150, and then we come all the way back down maybe to 60, 70. We accumulate something like this, and then we go up and up. So this is a long time horizon, by the way. This is into the next 2 years, basically. But nonetheless, I think we're on the final stages of the bull market here for Bitcoin. And news like this is a big changeover. It's a change of the old guard for sure. And that's a massive amount of capital that's been sitting on the sidelines in 401ks that haven't had easy access to the Bitcoin ETFs that are now going to have that easy access. Now, I think this is a great thing. There are a bunch of other assets that they included in that. Bitcoin, I think, will still predominantly be the strongest asset class out of all those. But anytime the government kind of takes away your control or your ability to manage your own capital and finances because they, say so, you would start to think that maybe it's best that they don't do that, and you give yourself your own freedom to do what you want with your money and your savings. And that's what we're seeing now. This is a big changeover. I suspect that we're going to see huge market moves in the next week or two. So again, it looks like we've completed the SOS, or our sign of strength. First sign of strength outside of the back of the box, there. And I suspect that that's now the backup phase. So things are looking great for the market. No change of character from what I can tell, although it was looking real close, touching the top of the box. I was a little worried the other day. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried. I'm like, damn, if we go back inside the box here, we could be going low fast. But we didn't touch that box, turned right back up, and we're starting to move. Now, the other positive sentiment here too is the S&P 500 is currently reset the stochastic RSI on the daily and pointing up. The MACD is also looking like it's trying to cross over. I suspect it will be at new all-time highs for the S&P 500 as well. Now, again, the other day, it was looking like it wanted to roll over. The stochastic RSI was down all the way at the bottom, and as soon as it hit the bottom, it turned right back up again. So lots of positive momentum in the market here. Again, across the board, pretty much everything moved up. Here's SUI from its baseline today, up around 8%. Link, one of the big movers as well. But Bitcoin, I think, going to be the largest beneficiary. We'll take a look at more of the assets going into the future. Sorry, it took me a little bit. I had a wildly chaotic last 10 days, probably one of the most joyous and also one of the saddest moments I've had in a long time. I don't want to share any more than that. Or maybe I will later in the future. It might be time for that. It might be time for just more videos around what's going on in life. I know you guys have appreciated that in the past. So let me know how everything's going. I think up and out and to the right here for the next little bit. Steve with the Arcane Bear signing off for the rest of the evening. Thank you guys all so much. We'll see you again on the next episode.